Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Louisa Jewell, and I'm here with Lisa Sears. Now, Lisa works with entrepreneurs and business owners to help them build their businesses because that can be the most difficult part. So, welcome, Lisa. I'm so glad you're here.
Thanks for having me, Louisa.
Well, now Lisa did a webinar for us. So we kind of did this webinar together a few weeks ago, and she brought up this idea of unique brilliance. And everybody loved this idea. There seemed to be so many questions about it. And so I thought this would be a great topic for us to talk about on my juice. And so I invited Lisa here today, and she graciously said yes. And so I'm just so pleased that you're here to talk to us about unique brilliance. Tell us, what is that? Tell us more about it.
Well, it was kind of fun to see how many people kind of plucked that from all the business essentials that I was teaching. And I think there's just a commonality with coaches and consultants and facilitators when it's not a traditional kind of business you're trying to build. This unique brilliance is such a great tool. And so what I mean by finding our unique brilliance, it's a great place to start. And we can kind of tie it back to positive psychology because it's our flow. So a lot of times we step in and we're so eager to either do coaching or something like that, but we're not really paying attention to where we really fit best. And so it really helps to look at what our unique brilliance is. And when I talk about that, I talk to people about their engagement. And sometimes we get into engagements that bring us anxiety. And sometimes we get into engagements that really don't bring us excitement. So we get a little of that boredom in there. And I think as entrepreneurs, we have so many options that it kind of paralyzes us when we start to think about building a business that might not be a traditional business. So I help people find their unique brilliance, and really it's how they tend to naturally help people. So how they get into flow. And
Okay, so
sure.
unique brilliance, how I uniquely get into when you talk about flow, you mean when I'm like fully engaged, loving what I'm doing, interested in what I'm doing. Is that what you mean?
Yes, and I think we always try to kind of fill holes in the marketplace. So there's so many ways that we can use the education or the wisdom or the experience to help people. We don't really know how to narrow that scope so that we find joy in the work. And so that unique brilliance can really help us show up in the way that we naturally help other people, but also that we enjoy our 8+ hours a day in our businesses. And so it really, finding that unique piece of you can be such a powerful tool.
Absolutely. Okay, so tell us, how do we do that?
So how I tend to help people do that is I take them through a visualization. And so just a high level, sit in a quiet place and close your eyes and picture going into space that you love, and picture the people in your life, either business people, family, friends, have them all line up and kind of come to you one at a time and thank you for some snapshot in time that you've helped them. So think about how you've helped other people and what that might look like. So for me, a lot of times it's getting together with friends. They'll come to me with a discussion or they're struggling with something. And I love to kind of plant a seed, usually around with a positive psychology concept or something like that. So I'll give them a little nugget, and then we'll kind of brainstorm ways that they might use that in the problems that they're having. And then I love to I'm like, I'm going to call you in 30 days and see how it went. So the way that I like to help people, and what common themes when I ask people about that, is that they kind of give me the same story back. So if you start to hear stories from other people thanking you, it can be a really helpful tool to see how, like, just in your natural flow, how the commonalities can be your unique brilliance. So
Okay.
I really encourage people to do visualizations, but the fun part is just go ask people. Pick
Okay,
people.
so you could do a visualization to maybe remember even what people have told you in the past, but go and ask people, how did I help you? Is that the question? What are the questions that I might ask people if I'm going to go out and ask people?
how did a conversation that happened with me, what was a great outcome? Well, how did I change your life? A lot of times we don't, especially if we have this urge to be an entrepreneur, we want to create impact in people's lives.
Yes.
What was maybe some of the impact? I asked my niece, and she ended up writing me this lovely letter about the way she felt about me and the way that I've helped her. And so you have all of these really great opportunities to also fill your bucket. You know, it's a really nice feeling. Yeah, it's a really, and it just really helps you hone into when you're naturally in flow.
Okay. Okay, great. And so then what's the next step? Once you ask people for this input, then what would you do?
So for entrepreneurs in particular, I love this. So once we kind of pinpoint this unique brilliance, we can kind of look at how can you shift that into a business model. So for me, my business model, it really helps me pinpoint how I want to work with people. So I want to teach people something. I want to help them practice that thing over time. I want to create impact in their lives. And then I kind of wanted them to grow and move on. So it is very, for me, it was designing limited engagements. So I would do a limited, like a 6-month coaching program, or I would do a 6-month mastermind. And it was teaching them something and then helping them go through that. And what it really helped me see is that I don't tend to like large group work. I will do large group work if, like, that webinar is a great example. It was a large group, but I could spark ideas and push them into some program, even if it's not with me. I really want to have them look for resources and use them. So my unique brilliance really helped me design my programs in my business. So I do one-on-one coaching for a period of time, or I do group coaching for a period of time. And I love it. Like, I really noticed that I started to find joy in my work. And so I think the other thing that I really like to talk about is that your unique brilliance can be your anchor or your compass. So now it gives me this great ways. A lot of people, they'll hear me speak, and they're like, oh my gosh, my group needs you to do X, Y, and Z. And I can look at that engagement and say, is this anchored in the way that I show up best? So I notice when I don't show up at my best, that flow gets out. And in the engagement, I either feel anxiety or I'm kind of not that jazzed about it. So I think we've all had clients like that, right?
Yes, I think that's so great because it's sort of like gives you a lens, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Like this is the lens, and then somebody comes to you for some work, and you go like this, and you say, that doesn't fit the lens. It's not working, and it's so true that when I'm in that lens and loving what I'm doing, but also really good at that. I mean, it's just so incredible. I mean, you live your life every day feeling energized by your work because as entrepreneurs, as business owners, there's no carrots and sticks really, right? You've got to go out, make your own business, create your own opportunities. So you've got to be juiced to do that. And so I can see how having that now as a lens and being really clear on that can be just so helpful. And also that can help propel your business to the new level because you're always doing things that you're really good at and where people are getting a lot of value.
And it really, when you make those decisions, you start to get better engagement. And we're all new entrepreneur, like at that new stage, trying everything can be really cumbersome. So if we try something more in line with our unique brilliance, I mean, we talked about, we've said yes to some engagements that we were disappointed with the outcome early on because it just didn't fit. And so you feel like that's a disappointment, like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't be doing this work. And it probably has more to do with you not being in line with your new unique brilliance, not content or not, you got up there and did the thing, right? But it didn't feel right because it probably didn't play into our unique brilliance.
Well, and the other thing is that as a new entrepreneur too, how are you going to know, right? So maybe you think, yeah, this is going to be great. And then you go and do it and you say, not as good as I thought. But if you can, as you say, if you don't think of that as a failure. Instead, think of that as, okay, what did I love about that? What did I not like about that? What would I do differently to really get me jazzed the next time when I do this? And what works and what doesn't work. Like for me, I like the large groups, right? I love that. And I don't like really the one-on-ones. I really don't do any one-on-one work. So, to me, it's the opposite. But I learned that by doing, right?
Absolutely. And I just think that accelerates this learning process when you have all of these options. We know that options can just stop us from doing anything. It just is a nice little tool. And when I talk about anchoring versus compass, like, so it helps me go in the direction I need to go. And when things don't go well, it's really my anchor to be like, well, maybe I set myself up for that, right? And it's okay. So it's a nice like grounding for me to go, I can make a better choice next time. And really be kind to myself as a new person trying new things.
That's right. And what I like about Unique Brilliance too is that it does give you that confidence, right? To say, because oftentimes we think we have to be good at everything, and when we're not, we kind of feel disappointed or we have self-doubt. As opposed to saying, I'm just going to focus on my unique brilliance. And then you're always reinforcing and doing things that you're really good at, doing things you love. You're reinforcing that, which just builds your confidence to do bigger and bigger things.
Absolutely. And I think you've got it exactly on the point where your unique brilliance is so different than mine, right? And that is so important. And I have a great example. I work with a fellow coach, and her unique brilliance, she actually loves to work with unique businesses. But her unique brilliance is kind of up here in this idea phase. She loves to be at the table with idea people. And she just really helps them at this layer. And where my unique brilliance is kind of getting them into action. So she'll do a nice handoff because she doesn't want to do this piece. And recently I hired my sister because her unique brilliance is really taking all the work I do. I don't love to package it, right? I don't like I can do it. We can do so many things, but her unique brilliance is she makes it really pretty for the person, and she'll actually hop into implementation and hold their hand through implementation. So you get layers of unique brilliance, and you can, as a coach, I now know who to refer in and out. Like, I don't have to say no anymore. I can say that's not my unique brilliance, but I know somebody's who it is. So it starts to create a network of people that you can refer in and out of if we know each other's unique brilliance, which is fun. It's fun to have community in your business.
I think that's really important, and to know that you can, give it to your friends, give it to colleagues. I often get calls from colleagues to do things too, which is great, right? And we're all helping each other. There's enough to go around for everybody.
And it's permission to say no to something that might be, a 6-month engagement that might not bring you joy. I think permission is so important.
That's right. And then you don't feel bad that you're not servicing your customer. You have someone else who's happy to serve them in that way.
Absolutely. So I think getting back to some of that anchor and compass thing, we talked about how we could use this in all aspects of our business. Not only how we kind of narrow in on how we should show up, but also then it comes into our communication and our marketing. When we put our unique brilliance out there, we actually get the clients and the work that we want. And you can even frame it, and this is my unique brilliance. I help people in this way. Usually people that come to me have this problem. And usually the outcome is, look, something like this. And so you're framing a lot of your marketing in your unique brilliance, which we know we don't love the client. That isn't a good fit for us. It just doesn't feel right. And so that's one of the ways we can use it as a tool. Yes or no, we talked about yes or no for engagements. I have that authenticity we talked about. It's such a buzzword, but this isn't about being authentic out there. This is being true to yourself. And I think that's a different kind of authenticity. And it's so important that we're happy in the things that we do daily. And I think being true to ourselves is so important. And
well,
so
I agree. I think being authentic is so key. And I'll often get that after a talk where people say you were very authentic and genuine. I think they can notice that. They notice that when when you're off, or when you're really being really you, and you connect better with people. when you are really your authentic self.
I think speaking engagements are tough for people sometimes, especially when you're new. And the clunky ones for me have always been when I have not been in flow and I've not been true to my unique brilliance. And the ones that felt good was when I was just up there and being myself. And so I think it's a great thing to think about before you go on stage sometimes when you have some of that anxiety. Get excited about sharing your unique brilliance, shift from anxiety to excitement. I use it all the time and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It is.
Good. Well, hey, I gotta have fun, right?
Right, absolutely. So
Okay, so then, yeah, so then what's next?
so what's next is I really would love people to, I think one of the projects that you decided that you're really interested in doing is figuring out what people, I think we kind of live and grow in our business and it's never too late to reground yourself in unique brilliance. So I think you're going to go ask your friends and family and your community. So I'd love to talk a little bit with you about that. Like, what's that going to be like for you?
Well, so I was thinking along with this podcast, I would have a link so that I can ask my community because I really want to reconnect with my community. I really, I took some time away to take care of a loved one through his transition to, um, non-physical, and so coming back. I really want to reconnect with my community again. And I really want to say, what is it that I do that really helps you? What is my unique brilliance? Because I think if I'm connecting in ways that I'm helping my community, that's what I love. I always want to know that in the work I'm doing, I'm helping others. I'm helping to improve their well-being and their happiness and their health. So that's something that I'm going to do. So I'm going to have links to my survey. And I'm just so grateful to you, Lisa. You've inspired me to understand, what kinds of questions I'm going to ask in the survey. And I'm going to be really interested to see what comes back as my unique, maybe we can even do a circle around.
Yeah,
And
great. That
yeah,
would be fun.
yeah, that would be fun, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested to see what my community really needs because I want to be delivering these juices. I want to be delivering, workshops, other programs that are really based in what people need and what people really value.
That's wonderful. I think it would be great to circle back on that. I love.
Okay, let's do it. All right,
I
let's
can't
do
wait
it.
to tell you what I think your unique brilliance is. So
Oh, yay.
I'll
Okay.
absolutely be
Well,
filling out that survey. Thanks.
okay, well, thank you so much. And thank you so much. I think this idea of unique brilliance is just wonderful. You are unique and brilliant. I've always thought that from the second I met you, Lisa. So thank you so much for being with us today and for sharing your knowledge. We really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thank
All
you.
right. Have a great day.
You too.